That is my intro music for today. That is the only intro music you're gonna get, yeah. Obviously, I want to thank none of my viewers because I have no viewers now. It looks like my face is covered up. First stream jitters. That's what they call that. We're gonna actually just move the faceage over to the other side, and we will. Sorry, it's the first time I've used this streaming platform in a while. I used to use it all the time. Oh, looks like it live switched over. That's real cool. Okay, so I'm just going to talk to you today about a couple of things. We're just going to go over some Arkansas cybersecurity news. I'm going to talk to you guys about some of the things that I like to post about, some of the things I like to post about on my website, arkansascybersecuritynews.com. The name of it will actually be changing to acsn.news, and when it changes to that, you'll see a new URL. You might see a new logo for it too. I really do like this logo, so I might just stick with the logo, but I might also change it. So let's talk kind of what this site is all about and what our goal and focus is really. So welcome to Arkansas Cybersecurity News. I am your host, Seth Ketty. It's where I bring Northwest Arkansas but really anyone in Arkansas, and even more than that, anyone in America, cybersecurity news. I bring my own flavor, my own zest, and I really try to be informative. And truth be told, the purpose of the website where I get a lot of my information at and where I post to frequently was actually made to kind of help as a tool to train people in cybersecurity. So what I do is I grab news articles and things like that, and then I just integrate it and heavily insert information related to the technical knowledge of cybersecurity in that incident. And I try to come up with things that are practical so people can go through there and try to react to what it is, and kind of like pretend almost like they're in that situation, like what would you do, sort of thing. So just a lot of stuff like that. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is intrusion detection and being a security researcher. Intrusion detection is a really cool thing that we've started to catch on to these last few years, and it's not about looking at just a series of patterns that people are bringing into your network, but it's about removing the patterns and finding those abnormal outliers, and really trying to watch those things and really trying to detect when they occur so that you can identify when you might have a breach or something like that. And that goes hand in hand whenever you become a security researcher. Essentially what you're doing as a security researcher is you're going out and you're trying to learn as much as you can about these incidents after they happen so that you can protect yourself and the people around you. We're not typically on the cutting edge of it, only because we're already in a reactive position, whether that is we're working at an enterprise location, we're working at an MSP, or we're doing something like that. We're put in a position where we're constantly being reactive. So taking the standpoint of intrusion detection is typically not just a not reactive, but proactive. You're setting up something beforehand. You're setting up a way that you can monitor your network and view your network so that when that thing happens, you know it happens. Typically, it's an expenditure that people have whenever they have a little more money to spend, because of how much money it typically, traditionally, would cost you to invest in something like that. It wouldn't be a small thing to do. You'd have to buy a server, you'd have to buy the product and the software and all the licenses that go with it. Really, back in the day, and Microsoft still does this, is their remote cows. Like everyone who wants to touch the server to be able to help even monitor this stuff. Unless you have a specialized software that's already viewing back to the server, you're having to remote into that server to do the work, at least at the time, if you wanted to do it securely. So we've come far enough now in technology where that's no longer the case. That's no longer what we have to do to access and gain these logs. And what's happened, and what should have always been happening, is when we insert these remote management tools and we're monitoring the networks, they should be gathering that information and storing it securely somewhere so that we can use it later on. And that's kind of what goes on now. So we call that SIEM, and that's kind of what we use to protect ourselves in a more proactive way. So I say that to say that That is the overarching view of what a company would do if they were a managed service provider, a managed security service provider, someone like that. I know there's companies out there in Arkansas like QuikTek, QuikTek. Companies like that go out there and they do try and protect people. So you can go ahead and feel free to look that company up. But really, I want to talk about this FBI's warning on these fake online ads that's happened recently. FBI puts out warnings all the time. You can go to their website and get those warnings. They're really helpful warnings. And really, they post any sort of news like that as it occurs to them, whether it's something that happens in the legal system or something that's happened that with an investigation of theirs, FBI most wanted, whatever it happens to be. The FBI is somebody who constantly puts out things like that. So if you've ever clicked on a link, or if you ever clicked on a link and only to realize it was a trap, only to realize that somebody was trying to run a scam on you instead of it being the actual ad. The reality is we want to trust ads. We want to be able to trust ads. We want to be able to go out there and click on these things because realistically, as advertisers, we want to be able to go out there and for people to see our product and people to understand what it is that we're offering. And when you have someone injecting malicious code inside of that thing we use to survive, it really creates ripples throughout the industry. We've already heard of how the ad market has been hit in ways that it has, especially throughout COVID, and just the pullback that so many companies have had. We've seen here recently Facebook drop 20,000 people on layoffs. We've seen Google do it too. We've seen a number of big companies go out there and just laying off massive amounts of people. Most of these jobs aren't tech jobs, they're soft jobs. I've written a couple articles on the website. You can go and check those out. But when that's what's up for grabs and that's what the risk is, it's really hard to look at something like fake ads that somebody is potentially stealing from people and injecting malicious code in there. So let's try and digest exactly what they're doing. So what are they doing? Well, essentially, when you click on an ad, there is a what's called a reference link, a campaign reference link sometimes, but it essentially tracks who clicked on that. The advertisers have been using these in a lot of really nifty ways to be able to go in there and find out exactly who's looking at what. So your browser is going to leave a certain trail, or your phone's going to leave a certain trail, and when they leave that trail, they attach it to the back of that reference link, and then they know essentially based off of a fingerprint exactly what's going on. So as far as like what space, where you travel to, what emails you've opened up, that's what I mean when I say going on. They know exactly what you're doing because they look at the end of these links and they can essentially track you through their system. So when they put these links on the back of there, what the malicious malware was doing was actually injecting 20 or 30 links, in some cases hundreds of links behind one single click. So you would do one click and it would ring up 100 clicks as though 100 different people clicked it from different areas. Now, it's not typically hard to do this. They're just catching that reference link before it gets sent on to the ad maker. Who are they really stealing from here? Are they stealing from the ad maker? Are they stealing from the user? Well, both. One, they're sending out fake clicks. Anytime you have fake clicks that are producing fake interest, it hurts. It doesn't necessarily hurt the big businesses that much. And that's what people don't realize is these big businesses that have thousands and millions of dollars to, I say thousands, to millions and millions and millions of dollars to advertise with, it doesn't really hurt them too much. They're not the ones who are suffering from this. It's really those small companies who go and spend some advertising dollars on one of these spots that they have. And then all of a sudden they find that all their ad money is gone. What happened to all this ad money? Well, someone injected a fake link behind your ad, clicked on it once and generated 300 fake clicks. Those 300 fake clicks were never seen by anyone. That means your business paid for 300 clicks. I can tell you from experience, on Google, 300 clicks is like $3,000. On Facebook, 300 clicks is like $75. That's a lot of money for a startup. That's a lot of money for a small business. That's not a little amount of money, and that's not a little thing that they're stealing in the terms of the size of the company it is. Again, when you get to a bigger company like Google, you get to a bigger company like Nestle, and they're out there spending millions and millions of dollars on advertising. Those little clicks can add up after a long time, but it's not like they know what ads necessarily are getting put in those locations. A lot of times they're infecting malicious sites that people already have a high enough a click-through rate that they're not noticing what's happening. What does happen is whenever they mess up and they go to the wrong location, they set one of these things up where there might not be normally any traffic, and they start generating fake clicks. Even fake clicks generated, there's going to be a pattern. Someone's going to notice it, and that's essentially what happened. The businesses essentially their money was gone, and they started complaining about it. They started looking at some of those clicks and realizing these were all happening within the same second. It was the money was just gone, and so they almost immediately knew what was going on. They launched an investigation with the FBI. The FBI and CISA at this point are trying to get their nose in every bit of cyber business they possibly can. I commend them for it. It's the only way to get in front of it. And if anyone has any question about whether or not we're actually getting in front of it, the answer is yes, we are. And we know we are because guidance this year pivoted from make sure you protect yourself from the outside to the biggest threat is the insider threat. Right? So we know it's pivoting. We know we're beating off nation state actors. We're securing our borders as far as cybersecurity goes, and the threats are still there and will always be there. But as we pivot and we look towards the inside, we start to find that there's another group of people who are taking money from America that are really damaging businesses in the long term, and it's these insider threats. Another podcast, another time. I'm definitely going to get to it. That's just the kind of person I am. But let me get to how can you protect yourself. Well, I would suggest checking on the URLs before you click on the ads. If it's something you really want to see, you really want. I would suggest if it's something you see and you want and it's not a deal that you have to click on to get, that you go to that website and try to get the same deal. Maybe screenshot the deal and take it into the store and say, hey, I saw this on this ad. I didn't want to click on it because it was an ad online, but would you still honor this here in the store? So there's a lot of options that you can do in order to try and protect yourself from things like that. Now, all of that is really crazy to think like, hey, you have to do this and this and this and this and this. Most people don't like to add steps to add to their security. What does QuikTek have to offer you? QuikTek has this software called QuikShield that can actually go in there, and it's just on your desktop. And if let's say you see an ad or a link or something you want to click on and you're afraid to click on it, you can right click on that and open it inside of a container. Open it inside of a sandbox. You can copy the link address and then open it up inside of a secure sandbox browser, paste the link in there, and then go back to the ad from there. There's a lot of different things, and that's going to completely protect you. Now, it doesn't necessarily protect you if you put your information in after you get to the next site, but it does protect you from that site necessarily injecting malware on your computer, running it in some other system host memory or something like that. It does protect you from that. So one of those things I would always tell people, get a sandbox, get a sandbox, get a sandbox. I still stand by that. Go get yourself a sandbox. Let's see here. What else we got? Advice for businesses, right? What would I tell businesses who are looking to protect themselves? I would say make sure you're looking at the ads you're producing. Make sure you have someone in marketing who knows what they're producing, knows where their links are going, and then make sure you have someone looking back there on the backlinks, making sure that all those backlinks you have going are actually going to your things and aren't being created or injected by somebody else. And that's a really important one. A lot of times we become complacent in cybersecurity. We can become complacent in our everyday, right? We throw that marketing money at a marketing guy. He says he's taking care of it. You hope he's doing his job. 6 months, a year go by. You see some hits for it, so you know something's going on, but you don't really take that good solid look. Stop. Take a look at the data. Know where your data is and how important it is. People accessing your website, creating that data is data. There is value there to not only your website, there's value to other people to know your traffic at your website. There's value to your competitors. There's value to people selling your data to competitors. So there's a wide view of people who are all out to try and gain that information from you. And the only way to stop it from happening is to be diligent and pay attention to it. So whether it is you have to do it cyclically, you have to set on a schedule. Every 4 months, I'm going to pull this kind of report and I'm going to look over these numbers and I'm going to look for these indicators. Awesome. We call that a KPI. Let me help you figure out what that is. Let me help you find that. But that's the kind of thing that we talk about when we start looking at, like, where's your data, where are your assets, where are the things that you need to worry about and need to make sure that you're protecting. What else do I got? So, I mean, that's really it, guys. For today, all I really got to say is be cautious when clicking. Sorry about that mic tap. My apologies. Be cautious when clicking. Be cautious when clicking. That's it. especially on sponsored ads. Again, if it's something that you already want, you're looking for, you're going to a website that's trusted, it's a little easier to find yourself clicking, but just be cautious when clicking. That's all I really got for you. So thank you so much for joining me. My name is Seth Ketty. I am your host. Some people call me Professor Ketty, and I am the owner and entrepreneur at QuikTek. The web page that you can go to for that is QuikTek.net, QuikTek.net. I run a online news website called acsn.news or Arkansas Cybersecurity Check.com. Either one of those websites will get you there. I also have a third company that we're currently running. It's called NWA Meta. We're working on that, trying to see what we're going to do with it. We got a couple of good ideas, but we're still playing around looking for some funding for that. So other than that, if you want to reach out to me, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever you want to hit me on, I'm out there, Seth Ketty or QuikTekHelp, either one of those two. Anyways, thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And other than that, have a safe week.